Hey everyone, welcome back. Apologies for going on a little bit of an unexpected hiatus, but some things came up in my life that were unavoidable. But now that I'm back, I wanted to start by addressing a message that I got from one of my followers, asking about a recent action taken by the National Labor Relations Board. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, recently truck drivers for the cement company Cemex decided to unionize. They got these signatures that proved majority support for union, and then they moved on to try and hold the election. But as was stated in the case made to the National Labor Relations Board, the company interfered with the elections process at least 20 times in an unlawful manner, and it resulted in the election failing to produce a pro-union result. Now, normally, the National Labor Relations Board would order the election to be rerun. But in this case, they found Cemex's behavior so egregious that there was no chance of a fair election in the future, and therefore they ordered the union formed and further ordered the company to bargain with the union. This is a huge win for labor and generally anybody who is pro-union. What my commenter was asking is, how could this be overturned in the future if a more conservative administration came to power and wanted to be anti-union, as a lot of previous Republican administrations have been? And I think that there are two main ways that this decision could get overturned. The first way that this decision could be overturned is through a civil lawsuit in federal court, as decisions by the National Labor Relations Board are subject to judicial review. A party such as the company, Cemex, or a worker who voted against the union could argue that their rights were infringed as the National Labor Relations Board ignored the election results and instead founded the union and forced the company to bargain with that union. They could claim that the company's interference wasn't so egregious that it had tainted any future election, and they'll probably argue that the decision should have instead been that the election should be rerun, which then the company would exploit to cause further delay and take further anti-union measures. But they could appeal this several times. It'll go to circuit court, then the appellate court, and potentially all the way up to the Supreme Court. Given the current tilt of the Supreme Court and some of the other rulings that have made that have been generally anti-labor, it's very possible that if it survives several layers of appeals and makes it to the Supreme Court, that they might end up striking this down and reining back in the power of the National Labor Relations Board. The other way that this labor victory could be rolled back is a bit more long-term because it involves changing the composition of the National Labor Relations Board. The members of the board are appointed to 5-year terms by the President of the United States with the advice and consent of the Senate, and their terms are structured in such a way that the president should be appointing one new member every year of their presidency. So, over the course of an entire presidency, that is 4 new members of the board, potentially. Therefore, whoever wins in 2024 is going to have a lot of influence in shaping the way the National Labor Relations Board is structured. And should it be a Republican who wins, given the Republican Party is, generally speaking, anti-union, they could appoint nominees to the board that would roll back this victory for labor as well as other labor protections in a more pro-corporation mindset. So, like we saw with the Supreme Court, elections matter. So 2024 is going to be important for many reasons, but deciding who gets to appoint the members of the National Labor Relations Board is definitely going to be one of them. Either way, this is definitely an issue that we are going to have to keep an eye on. At time of filming, I haven't seen any reporting that a challenge has been filed, but I'm sure that there are a number of anti-union groups that are currently going over their options, conducting a lot of research, and trying to figure out the best strategy to overturn this decision by the National Labor Relations Board. In the meantime, the best we can do is lobby our lawmakers in order to put into law more concrete protections for labor, especially when it comes to preventing corporate interference in union elections. Think about it.